Hi, this is Jen with a sensory space video for Chopsy Baby, and I'm going to go through and look at some of the ways you could create a really simple sensory seascape on your table at home. So I've got shaky cam today because it's just going to work out easier than setting up tripods and making sure the shots are straight. It's going to be easier to get right into what we're doing. So starting off here, we've got one of those very simple fibre optic lamps. They're really cheap to get. Make sure you get ones that aren't too sharp and spiky and will poke children in the eye. This is a really soft one. It looks amazing at night because you get some really lovely colour changing going on. Behind it we've got one of those marvellous mermaid cushions. I've covered those before and I'm going to show you some more interesting things you can do with them in a different video later on. But just to remind you, this is where you can smooth a cushion one way and you get this lovely aquamarine colour, and then when you go back and it turns the sequins over, not doing it very effectively here, you can see that on the other side the sequins are silver, so you get this lovely effect. You can draw and make patterns and shapes in this cushion here. It feels really amazing when you do it. Okay, so moving on, other things you could add to your tabletop seascape. We've got a mini disco ball. That's great fun. It captures the light in amazing ways. Here we've got just a very simple spiral glitter stick. Not very seascapey, but I suppose you could come up with some really interesting adjectives to describe the way things are moving through liquid. Which brings us back here. We've got classic water beads. I've kept these safely lidded because these babies can bounce and roll when dropped, and they will go for miles, especially if you have wood or laminate floor. Drop a handful of water beads on the floor and they will bounce. You can do some interesting things with water beads. You add some glycerin, some toys, and you can start creating treasure bottles, but ones that if you add glycerin instead of water, you might have to give it a shake, you can make it float around really slowly inside. See the difference between that and water? Get a very slow move to it. And glycerin is something that you can just pick up from the cough mixture aisle. Very cheap, you don't need an expensive brand, and it's great for doing treasure bottle arts and crafts. Okay, so just to add a touch of light and interest, and as you can see we've got a survival blanket as a tablecloth today, which means that this tiny little lamp here, which probably needs some stronger batteries in it, we've got the fish going around and it's also making some interesting light effects on the sensory blanket, the sensory space blanket below. Okay, so over here we have a spiky ball. Does it have anything to do with the sea? No. Does it fit in nicely as a tactile toy in our seascape? Yes, it does. Over here we've got some more traditional toys which are great in water play. These are just very simple sea creatures. That's as much as you can say about those. And also you can get some bigger ones which will be great in sand as well. And also if you set up a water bead tray, pop some of these, and that one's probably a little bit too close to life. I don't like crabs. We do have a stingray. It might not be a stingray, it's in the ray family, but this could be great in water play, couldn't it? And also, when I acquired these, I also got this lovely seahorse. Now, it just looks like your bog standard seahorse, but a few children have commented to me about how the hardened outside of the toy, it provides quite a firm resistance. It's quite painful to hold, but children who like to get that sensory feedback and squeeze things almost in a painful way will really enjoy the outside edges of this seahorse toy. Okay, so moving on to some more tactile toys. We've got these, you've probably seen them in gift shops. These are stretchy sharks, and you can see things tend to stick to them. Let's find another one. Oh, it's got marabou on it. See, and what happens is you literally just pull and stretch it as far as you can. Okay, so moving on, we've got some marabou, which is really nice and soft for young children to fiddle with. It can get quite dog-eared after a while, so it's a good idea to freshen it up. It's not massively expensive. And to make the table more interesting, you can use things like these pan scourers. These are very soft ones. Don't use the dolly ones, which you can get really hard, dangerous bits of metal coming off, but these are really soft. It's just like a cloth with a little bit of whatever the slightly rough thread is that they put through it, but they're very soft to touch. There's nothing dangerous about these used under close supervision. It's quite a nice thing, and if it doesn't work you can clean your dishes with them. And of course, not forgetting that you can add lots of interesting fabrics to create the sea. You can have a really good go with this. Add some sparkly fabric. I do have some somewhere, I'm not quite sure where that's gone. It's probably on the floor. And finally, no seascape would be complete without some sea stuff. So, as you can see here, with a big box with a collection of really large shells. These are really great in sand, as a standalone play item, or even in water. You can set up some really great water tables with this. And you can add interesting things like fish tank decorations and ornaments. These are like a box of them for 99p, and they've lasted really well. I'm surprised how well these have lasted through all seasons of water play. A lot of these you can get from home decor stores, so that's just like it was a tub of Black River pebbles. And you can make it more interesting by adding these glass beads. But what you do need to be careful with these is that they can be a choking hazard, so they're only really suitable for older children or very close one-to-one supervision. These would be really dangerous for toddlers or babies who like to put things in their mouth because of the shape of them, so don't use them if it's a risk. But there will be children for whom using these will be absolutely fine. So just to do a shaky cam pan across the table again, setting it up, you can either use like a really nice tablecloth of shiny blue fabric, or we like this, it's got a space blanket. They give them at the end of the marathon, and to hikers who've got lost in the middle of nowhere because they think they can walk for miles when actually they can't. If you just set these things up on your table, you can create some really amazing effects.